Bogan, this picture is too real. Lin Feng's eyes were shocked by the scene in front of him. Under the blue sky and white clouds, there is a green grassland. When the slight wind blows, you can hear the fragrance of grass, and even the soil under your feet will feel soft when you step on it. He looked down and saw that he was wearing a torn cloth and a wooden stick in his hand, which was a perfect match for novices. Welcome to the greatest China. New players, please choose your game ID. A crisp electronic sound echoed in my ears. Lin Feng turned around and directly entered, Data Madman. Anyway, he never relies on his energy when playing games, but on his brain. This ID is no longer suitable. ID is confirmed successfully. Current location, Novice Village number 001. I wish you a happy game. As soon as the system sound fell, a translucent attribute panel popped up in front of Lin Feng, which showed that his level was level 1, with a health value of 100, attack power 5, and defense power 2. There was nothing but a wooden stick in the backpack. Typical weak chicken start. But Lin Feng was not panicked at all. Although he is an ordinary college student, he is actually a top expert in data analysis. In his eyes, there are a bunch of numbers in his eyes, and he can find out the rules with a little calculation. This kind of online game is simply a down-and-down attack to him. Look at the map first. Lin Feng opened the system interface and found that there are several low-level monster refresh points near the Novice Village. The most recent one is Haven Forest, monster level 1 to 3, suitable for novice practitioners. He was about to go through his eyes when a noise suddenly came to his ears. Brother, are you going to team up? Fighting hares together, safe and fast. A chubby player ran over, and the game ID was called Little Fatty Little Fat, and he smiled silly. When Lin Feng saw this guy, he was so happy. Isn't this the dead little fat man in his real life? Fatty, why are you here to play this game? Lin Feng couldn't help but complain. Brother Feng, I heard that this game is so popular. The number is super real. Of course I have to try it. Besides, with you here, will it be nice to take me to lie down? Xiaopeng said, patting his chest, and the wooden stick in his hand was almost slapped by him. Lin Feng rolled his eyes and said, okay, don't drag your legs, go to the hare forest training level. The two hit it off and headed straight for the monster point. When I arrived at the hare forest, I saw many novice players killing monsters. Although these hares are level 1 monsters, their actions are quite flexible. Many players slapped them with one stick, and then the hare bit them back, and the blood squirted down, causing chaos. Brother Feng, why is this hare so difficult to hit? Xiaopeng tried to poke, but the hare jumped and bit his butt directly, causing him to scream. Lin Feng did not rush to move, but stood beside him and observed for a while. He found that the attack mode of the hare was very simple, just jumping up and biting people, and jumping into the carriage was almost fixed. As long as you calculate its starting time and landing point, you can avoid it in advance and then counterattack. He silently remembered the data in his heart and squirted at the corner of his mouth. Fatty, look at it, I'll teach you a precise striking. After saying that, Lin Feng raised the wooden stick and stared at a wild rabbit. Just as the hare's back legs were slightly bent and ready to jump, he flashed his side and the wooden stick hit the hare's brain. With a bang, the hare was directly smashed, the blood strip was cleared, and a copper coins were dropped. Baga, Brother Feng, you're too accurate. The little fat man was stunned, and several novice players next to him also came to see him in surprise. Basic operation, learn the point. Lin Feng raised the copper coins and said calmly. He continued to sweep monsters, and each stick was stuck in the hare's attack gap, which was surprisingly efficient. In less than 10 minutes, he had killed more than a dozen wild rabbits, and his experience grew a lot, and there was a lot of copper coins and small rabbit meat in his backpack. The little fat man tried to imitate, but he was still bitten and was so angry that he said, "This game is so different from the fat man." Lin Feng was about to comfort him, and his eyes suddenly swept to a stone deep in the forest. There are some blurred runes engraved on the surface of the stone, and there is a pile of grass next to it, which doesn't look very opposite. He felt a little nervous, isn't this the point of contact that hides the mission, right? Fatty, please brush it first, I'll go and see there. Lin Feng threw down a sentence and walked directly towards the stone. Sure enough, when the system approaches, the system prompts to sound. Did you find an unknown rune stone? Is it activated? Activate. Lin Feng confirmed without hesitation. The next second, a glimmer of light came out from the stone, and the ground suddenly shook, and a black shadow appeared from the grass line. Players touched the hidden mission, the test of the sealed beast. Mission goal: hit the defender. The higher the completion level, the stronger the reward. Both slot, level 5 elite monster. Isn't this playing with me? Lin Feng saw his weak 5-point attack power and his brain moved at a rapid speed. When a normal novice encounters this monster, he will probably be killed in seconds, but he is not panicked. Anyway, data analysis is his strength. He quickly observed the Black Wolf's actions and found that this guy would growl low before every time he hit, then lifted his right claw first, and the attack range was about 2 meters ahead. As long as you dodge this first hit, you can block the counterattack. He licked his lips and held the wooden stick tightly. Come on, who's more accurate in the trial? The Black Wolf growled and rushed over suddenly. Lin Feng was ready to roll to the left, and just avoided his claws. Then he hit the Black Wolf's back leg with a stick, causing a -3 damage number to explode. Although the damage was so low, the Black Wolf's hatred value was pulled and he began to chase and bite him. That's it? Lin Feng ran back and slammed, relied on his precise positioning to pull the Black Wolf into the group. Several players who passed by were shocked when they saw this scene. Who are you? A level 1 beginner picks a level 5 elite monster, and you still have to fight back? This operation is definitely a great master. Lin Feng did not understand these discussions and calculated the Black Wolf's attack rhythm with all his heart. After more than 10 minutes, the Black Wolf's blood strip was finally ground to the point where only one piece was left. He grabbed the opportunity and hit the wolf's head with a stick. With a bang, the Black Wolf howled unwillingly and fell to the ground. The mission is completed, the trial review, perfect. The prize is being released. The system sounded, and a golden treasure box suddenly popped up in front of Lin Feng. At the same time, a black light flew out from the Black Wolf's body, turning into a mini Black Wolf, surrounding him. Congratulations to the player for obtaining the unique god pet, Xiao He. Current level 1, skill, biting, causing 120% physical damage, hidden attributes to be unlocked. The system prompted Lin Feng's eyes lit up. This pet is obviously not an ordinary product. He looked down and saw that although the small black on his foot was small in shape, his fur was pitch black and bright, and there was a sense of ruthlessness in his eyes. He looked at it and felt angry. Xiao He? The name is not very good, but because you are a god's troop, I will take you flying. Lin Feng was happy and reached out and touched Xiao He's brain. As a result, Xiao He licked his saliva directly. At this time, the golden treasure box was also opened, and there was a purple flashing equipment lying inside. Newbie's blade, purple quality, attack power plus 15, additional attribute, hit rate plus 10%. You know, if it is already a rare product to be exposed in the novice village, purple dress is simply a different level. It's been released, this wave of blood is worth it. Lin Feng said nothing about changing to the novice's blade, and his feel was different. He took Xiao He back to the hare forest. Xiao Peng was running away by several hares. When he saw Lin Feng coming back, Lima shouted, "Brother Feng, help! Here comes!" Lin Feng gave a command, Xiao He whizzed out, slapped a rabbit with one claw, and the damage number directly exploded -50, killing him in seconds. Several wild rabbits next to them were also scared and turned around and ran away. Xiaopeng's chin was almost falling off. "Brother Feng, where is this little wolf from? It's too fierce." Hide mission reward, God is Xiao He, why are you so awesome? Lin Feng looked proud, and then he re-slashed his hand and solved the last wild rabbit, and it dropped directly into his backpack. Awesome! So awesome! Brother Feng, you are going to be the king of the novice village. The little fat man's eyes shone and rushed over. What, take his brothers to fly together? Okay, don't drag your legs. Lin Feng smiled and continued to kill monsters with Xiao He and Xiao Pang. With Xiao He on the way, his efficiency doubled. The monsters in the hair forest were almost emptied by them. The experience value soared. Lin Feng quickly rose to level 3, and even Xiao Pang got to level 2. At this time, players around had already started a discussion, and some even secretly took pictures of Xiao He's battle and posted them on the game forum. Lin Feng didn't know that the god trouble of himself in the novice village had begun to be circulated. Brother Feng, are we too high profile? Xiao Pang was a little worried. What is Gao Gong afraid of? Reality is the hard truth. Lin Feng was just speaking when he suddenly heard a sudden sensation coming from afar. Several players were surrounded by badly speaking, and they were discussing something. One of the guys with ID Brother Mad Sword pointed to Lin Feng's direction and said loudly, "That boy heard the purple dress and brought a weird pole. Our boss said that we were going to meet him." Lin Feng had sharp ears, heard clearly, and the corner of his mouth slightly raised. Oh? Someone is looking for trouble? Interesting. It seems that life in the novice village will not be boring. He patted Xiao He's brain, and a glimmer of light flashed in his eyes. Lin Feng heard the words of the big knife, raised his eyebrows slightly and muttered in his mouth, "Big knife? It sounds so awkward to me. Okay, I want to see how many pounds you have." He patted Xiao He's brain and said in a low voice, "Little guy, you're ready, we have to leave a little impression." Xiao Pang was stunned by the sound, and couldn't help but come over. "Brother Feng, what's going on? Who is troubled with you? That helper doesn't seem easy to mess with." He pointed to several players who were not far away, and his face was filled with worries, and the wooden stick in his hand was sweating. "It's nothing, there is a guy named Quang Dao. He probably is a famous high-quality game in the whole server. He heard that I burst into purple clothes and carried a magical pet. I was a little dissatisfied and sent me to explore the way." Lin Feng said lightly. His eyes were locked on those people, and his brain had already started to analyze it quickly. He knew that this kind of thing was common in games. Whoever became popular would be easily targeted, but if you really wanted to stand firm, it would be useless to just hide, and you had to make a name for yourself. What should I do? We are only in the 3rd grade, and all the other party is a big number above level 10. We don't have to cut it with one knife. Xiao Pang was so anxious that he stomped his feet, his voice crying. What a panic. A high level does not mean you can win. The game is not only about equipment, but also about brains. Lin Feng grinned and patted Xiao Pang's shoulder. Don't run around first. I have an idea. I just take this opportunity to let the whole server know that we are not easy to mess with. As he said, Lin Feng opened the forum interface in the game and quickly tapped the virtual keyboard with his fingers. He planned to start a strong move first, and directly wrote a final guide for the novice village, throwing out all the data and experiences he had found over the past few days, shocking those players who were watching the hottest, and giving the Guangdao a little psychological pressure. In less than 20 minutes, an article titled Novice Village No Adversary Guide, Data Streaming Teaches You How to Get From Zero to Masters, post has been released. There are detailed descriptions of the monster attack mode, drop probability, and even the contact conditions of the hidden mission. Although the location of the runestone is not directly mentioned, the lines and the characters are all dry goods, and finally a short video of Xiao He killing the hare in seconds is attached as a proof. Discover. Lin Feng issued a key while squirting at the corner of his mouth. Fatty, wait for the forum to explode. As expected, the post was posted in less than 5 minutes, and the retrieval volume exceeded 100, and the popularity directly topped the novice area. Players are leaving messages, their language is more exciting than each other. Bottle, this guide is Neo Pai. As you beat it, the hare will never bite my butt again. Who is the data streaming master? This analysis is too hardcore. The game company will cry after watching it. What kind of pet is Xiao He? The damage of killing the hare in seconds will be gone. The great god asks to fly. Of course, there is also a sour sound. Tisk, isn't it just a novice who is very fashionable and has a little equipment? What kind of great master do you want to install? If you have the ability to go to the main city, don't show off in the novice village. Lin Feng was flirting with these replies and was very happy. Especially when he saw someone sour him, Lima replied, flower? Then you also try to flower burst purple and get the gods. Welcome to novice village number 001 to find me, I will teach you how to move. As soon as this sentence came out, the forum exploded directly, and more players began to rush into novice village number 001, wanting to see how awesome this data madman is. Several live broadcasters even started the live broadcast directly, staring directly at the hair forest, ready to take pictures of Lin Feng's battle scenes. Brother Feng, your operation has directly attracted the whole server's gaze. Xiaopeng was stunned, and the forum on his mobile phone kept pushing ding ding chi, but, someone is really here to cause trouble, what should we do? Character? Then continue to do it. Lin Feng turned off the forum interface and glanced far away. He just saw the baby knife walking towards the side with a few people, and shouting in his mouth, Mad man, right? Our boss Mad Dagger said, your little trick is meaningless, you have the ability to practice with us. Lin Feng sneered and didn't answer the conversation. He opened the friend list and sent a private chat to Xiaopeng, don't make a sound first, and look at the farther point. I want to see what kind of beauty can be played by this helper. Xiaopeng received the message and Lima agreed. He pretended to be Lin Feng and stepped back to pretend to be a monster. Lin Feng took Xiao He and slowly greeted him, joking, oh? Is the boss of Guangdao? Why don't you come by yourself and send a few younger brothers to give it to others? As soon as this happened, the faces of several people changed, and the little brother with a crazy knife jumped straight. Boy, your mouth is very hard. Our boss is the top 50 experts in the entire server rankings. Do you want to deal with you as a novice? Brothers, give him a look. As for the words, those players directly lifted their weapons and slammed them. The display levels on the ID are all in the 5th to 7th level, and the equipment is much stronger than the novice standard. It seems that they are here to find faults. When the players watching the side saw this armament, they kept retreating, and the discussions came one after another. This data madman is about to be upset. There are many people on the other side, and there is also a level of pressure. Don't you think he is carrying a god's trotter? He may be able to kill him. Lin Feng looked at the people who had been waving over, but he was happy in his heart. The action modes of these guys are so easy to guess. The two warrior players in the front row are straight-wired, and the several archers and mages in the back are ready to release their skills in a long way, and the routine is so old that they are too old. He quickly calculated the opponent's attack range and distance, and said to Xiao He in a low voice, little guy, the warrior on the left hand you over, remember to be hard to get the position. Xiao He growled and whirled out, snatching the warrior on his left. At the same time, Lin Feng flashed his body, avoided the first wave of skills on the opposite side, and then grabbed the novice's blade and hit the warrior on the right to make a knife. The effect of hit rate bonus was instantly visible, and the damage number of -20 was directly exposed, and the opponent's blood strip dropped by 1/3. Call, why is this novice's injury so high? The warrior was startled and quickly retreated, but Lin Feng gave him the opportunity. After several stabs, he forced the other party to retreat without a way out, and his blood slammed down. On the other side, Xiao He was even more fierce. With his biting skills, he swept the opponent's warriors all over the place, and the damage numbers jumped out one by one, and the surface was directly pressed. This kid is a bit evil, retreat. Seeing that the situation was not right, Lima shouted and ran away in shame with several people. Even the ruthless words did not dare to say anything. Lin Feng didn't chase him, and stood there and snorted coldly, go back and tell your boss, I want to find fault and come at any time, I'll wait in the novice village. This sentence is neither humble nor arrogant, but it makes the players around him explode in an instant, and the live broadcast screen is even more blown up. 666. This number of crazy people is really just going to kill the crazy sword person away. There is such a character in the novice village, and they will definitely be a master in the later stage. Lin Feng ignored these discussions and turned to greet Xiaopeng. Fatty, don't install it. After continuing to kill monsters, we have to be hindered. Xiaopeng heard that Lima's fart, ran over and admired her face. Brother Feng, you just did that, you exploded. The help of the mad knife is probably so angry that you vomited blood. I'm so angry that I'm not so angry. It's important to let the whole server know that I'm not relying on luck. Lin Feng said, his eyes flashed suddenly, and a bigger thought popped up in his brain. Fatty, we can't just guard the hair forest and brush the monsters. I just saw someone mentioning in the forum that there is a hidden boss in the depths of the novice village, saying that the explosion rate is against the sky. Let's go and try it. Hide the boss? Brother Feng, you're not kidding. We are only in the 3rd level, what should we do if we turn around the car? Xiaopeng heard this and his legs were soft. Car? It doesn't exist. Lin Feng smiled confidently and patted Xiao Hei's brain. With Xiao Hei here, plus my data analysis, any boss can be worn to death. Let's go, while the forum is still hot, let's make another big news. 2 people and 1 wolf soon arrived at a wasteland beside the novice village. It was rarely crowded here, and only a red warning of dangerous areas was marked on the map. Lin Feng searched 4 places based on the traces in the forum, and finally found a hidden hole behind a pile of rocks. A faint darkness scattered around the hole. The system prompted the sound of the sound. I found a hidden copy, Dark Wolf's Knot. It is recommended to be level 5 or above. Should I enter? In. Lin Feng said nothing and confirmed. Although Xiaopeng was afraid, he still followed him in with his head. The light in the cave was dim, and there was a stinking smell in the air. After walking for a few steps, I heard a low growl coming from the depths, and then a huge black shadow appeared slowly. Dark Wolf King, level 8, health 1200, attack power 35. As soon as the attribute panel appeared, Xiaopeng was stunned. Brother Feng, this thing is more powerful than trying to win the Black Wolf. Can we really fight? Yes. Lin Feng's eyes were sharp and he quickly observed the Wolf King's movement mode. He found that this guy would raise his head and roar before each attack, and then swipe it with his front paws. The scope was large but the speed was slow. As long as he avoided it in advance, he could find a counterattack opportunity. He said to Xiaopeng in a low voice, you are responsible for long-distance hatred, throwing stones with wooden sticks to attract its attention. My little black card and I output it, remember, don't run away. The little fat guy was like garlic. He picked up the stone and smashed it on the Wolf King, and he succeeded in holding the hatred. The Wolf King roared and rushed towards Xiaopeng. Lin Feng seized the opportunity and took Xiao Hei to cut in from the side, slashing the Wolf King's back leg. Xiao Hei's biting skills were even more crazy, and the damage numbers jumped out one after another. Although the Wolf King's attacking power was surprisingly high, Lin Feng's positioning was accurate to milliseconds, and he could dodge his way out again and again every time, and then he had a backhanded strike. After a full half an hour of fighting, the Wolf King's blood strip was finally ground to the point where only 1 piece was left. Lin Feng shouted, Xiao Hei, the last blow. Xiao Hei roared and slapped the Wolf King's brain with 1 claw, causing a fatal injury of -60. The Wolf King let out an unwilling wail, fell to the ground, and the ground shook. The system prompt sound immediately, congratulations to the player for completing the hidden dungeon, Dark Wolf's Knot, rating, perfect. The bonus is being released. A golden light flashed over, and a treasure box with purple light fell next to the Wolf King's body. Lin Feng opened it and saw a genre prop lying inside, Wolf King's ring, purple quality, attribute bonus, attack power +20, blast rate +15%. This property is simply a stubborn existence in the novice village. After wearing it, Lin Feng's fighting power was doubled. Bo Groove, Brother Feng, this ring is so awesome. We are so fond of blood. Xiaopeng looked at the ring, his eyes straightened. It's a good thing, but that's not over yet. Lin Feng put on the ring and slightly slapped the corner of his mouth. Fatty, send the video of the boss that just beat him to the forum. Remember to add the title Data Madman killed the novice village for the first time and hides the boss. Will the Mad Sword dare to challenge it? When Xiaopang heard this, Lima understood what Lin Feng meant and smiled. I understand, this is a crazy knife on the face. I will find it, and I will make sure that the whole server will explode. As soon as the video was released, the forum really boiled again. Many players were shocked by Lin Feng's operation, and the name of the crazy knife was repeatedly mentioned, and the discussion became more and more intense. Lin Feng looked at the heat on the forum, patted Xiao Hei's brain and said in a low voice, "Little guy, it seems that our troubles have just begun. Next, the crazy knife is probably going to be out of his own way." Lin Feng stood at the exit of the novice village, looking at the hiding silhouette of the main city far away, feeling a little excited. Finally, he was about to leave this small broken village. The popularity on the forum has been almost done. His name Data Madman is well known to everyone in the novice player circle, especially the video of the first killing of the Dark Wolf King, which directly focused the eyes of the entire server. The Wolf King ring and the blade of the novice flashed in the backpack. Xiao Hei squatted beside his foot, with a ruthless squeezing in his eyes. "Brother Feng, do we really want to go to the main city? I heard that the Master Ryun was so angry that he would be trapped by others." Xiaopang looked nervous, holding a wooden stick in his hand, glanced at him, as if he was ready to run away at any time. "Surround? Who is the one who is still there?" Lin Feng glanced at him and said, "It's useless to be a novice village, the main city is the real battleground. Let's take you to see what it is called a big scene." After saying that, he took Xiaopang and Xiao Hei and walked towards the main city. The scenery along the way became more and more impressive, the grasslands turned into rolling hills, and there were huge city walls and magic towers far away. The real feeling of the game made people sigh. On the way, I met several players. When I saw Xiao Hei beside Lin Feng, my eyes were full of admiration. Someone even shouted directly, "Brother, do you sell pets? I'll pay a high price. If you don't sell, you'll be curled." Lin Feng didn't look back and had to pay attention. Xiao Hei is his trump card, and he doesn't change much gold coins. It was already afternoon when we arrived at the main city capital of heaven. People came from the city gate, and players were wearing all kinds of equipment. Some were riding on the ride, and some were dragging on the trophy, as hot as the real vegetable market. Lin Feng opened the map and saw that the main urban area was more than 10 times larger than the novice village. The mission lines, shops, and dungeon points were dense, and the amount of information exploded directly. "Brother Feng, this place is too big, what should we do first?" Xiaopang stared at the eyes and stared at everyone. As a result, he accidentally bumped into a warrior player passing by. Lima was scolded by the other party, "Look at the road, the bird." Xiaopang shrank his neck and smiled embarrassedly. Lin Feng ignored this episode and said directly, "Go to the mission hall to take on several mainline tasks first. Level is the most important. If you go to the level, the equipment and resources will naturally follow." The two of them entered the mission hall, and the players were already filled with them. The notice column was filled with various mission notices, from low-level collecting herbs to high-level destroying demon dragons. Lin Feng glanced at it, picked up several mainline tasks suitable for the current level, and prepared to take it, and suddenly a smile of unhappy kindness came to his ears. "Yeah, isn't this the Data Madman in the novice village? Why, are you going to the main city to wear a great master?" The voice came from the corner of the main hall. Lin Feng turned around and saw several players walking towards him. The ID on his head was called Mad Knife. He was wearing a silver light flashing equipment, holding a giant war knife in his hand, and was very energetic. There were 7 or 8 younger brothers behind me, all of which were above level 15. As soon as the attribute panel came out, the pressure felt directly full. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes and felt happy in his heart. This guy is the crazy knife he picked up by his name on the forum, and he really can't help but get out of his own way. He didn't understand the other party's ridicule in the dress, and replied calmly, "Oh, Master Quangsword, I have been recognizing Daming for a long time. Why do you come to the task of a novice at the capital if you have time to take over the task of a novice? How about you downgrading? As soon as this happened, many players around him burst into laughter. The face of the crazy sword suddenly turned dark. The sword in his hands became tight and gritted his teeth and said, "Boy, your mouth is very hard. I have been showing off in the novice village for a few days. Do you really think you are a character? Tell you, the main city is not a place where you can get along with a chicken like this." Kai chicken? Lin Feng raised his eyebrows and glanced at his level. Although he was only level 5, the purple dress in his backpack and the little black on his side were not designed. He was asked to stop and directly responded, "If you have the ability, don't just say it's not practice. Come on, let's compare and see who is real." This seemed to have a fire ignited, and the younger brother behind the crazy blade stood up and said, "Boss, fuck him. This kid is too crazy, give him some instruction." "That's right, what a data madman, I think he's a madman looking for death." Players around also began to watch, and the discussions became louder and louder. Some people even secretly started the live broadcast, and the lens was directly aimed at Lin Feng and the crazy knife. The screen instantly burst into tears. There's a good opportunity for Data Madman to fight against Crazy Knife. Guangdao snorted coldly, and was obviously angry. He pointed at him, "Okay, I'll give you this opportunity. There is a PK area in the wilderness outside the city. Let's go there, just pick or group battle, you can choose it yourself. It's okay to pick a group fight, but I have to add a condition." Lin Feng was calm and squinted, "Don't you dare to hand over the best equipment on your body?" As soon as this bet was released, the whole scene exploded. Guangdao is one of the top 50 high-end games in the entire server. It has at least one orange piece of equipment on it, and it is worth buying a set of purple clothes from the novice village. Lin Feng, a 5th-level novice, dares to mention this condition and is simply a waste of time. Guangdao was stunned for a moment, and then laughed, "What a big voice. Okay, I agreed. But boy, don't cry if you lose it. Brothers, let's see how I deal with him." After saying that, the crazy sword carried a helper and turned around and left. Lin Feng patted the fat man on the shoulder and said in a low voice, "Fatty, don't be stunned, follow me, when you will be scared." Xiao Peng was confused, but he still kept up with him, muttering in his heart, "What are Brother Feng doing? There are so many people on the other side, how can we fight?" When we arrived at the PK area in the wilderness outside the city, there were already a lot of players watching the hot spots. The number of people in the live broadcast was directly broken, and the screen was flying fast. Did the Data Madman die in this wave? The level 5 challenge is level 15, has his brain flowed into the water, right? Not necessarily, didn't you see his operation in the novice village? Maybe he is really alive. Lin Feng stood in the middle of the venue, and the sword walked over with 5 little brothers, and said proudly, "Boy, you have considered it clearly. Is it a single challenge or a group battle? I won't bully people, I will give you the opportunity to choose. Let's fight, save trouble and solve it in one go." Lin Feng was relaxed, as if he didn't take the other party seriously, but his brain was actually flying and moving forward. He had long used the system panel to swipe the opponent's attributes. The attack power of the crazy sword is as high as 80 and the health volume is 3000. It is indeed a crushing level, but the action mode has a clear break. Before each time the knife is released, the shoulders will be slightly raised, and there is a full 0.5 seconds of prejudgment time. As long as you get stuck, you can completely hide. As for those 5 little brothers, although they were of high level, they obviously did not have a tacit understanding of each other. They were scattered in shape, and there was at least 3 meters between the distance and the close battle, which allowed him to break through one by one. Lin Feng was already 80% sure in his heart, and said to Xiao He with his head down, "Little guy, you're ready, I'll hear me and I'll give it a try." Xiao He growled, his eyes suddenly became abnormally sharp, and the black light on his body flashed, and the system prompt sound suddenly sounded. The divine pet Xiao He's evolutionary skills touched, shadow burst, instantly moving behind the target body, causing 150% physical damage and adding 1 second of dizziness. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. This new skill was too timely. With the shadow burst, the shape of Fu Kuang knife is as simple as a tiger. He raised his head and smiled at the Kuangdao. Come on, don't be moron. Kuangdao sneered and said with a slight voice, brothers, come on. Get rid of that broken wolf first, and then kill this kid. As the voice fell, 5 little brothers, Rima, rushed up, and 2 warriors led the sword to directly attack Lin Feng. The 3 archers and wizards in the back began to accumulate power and the fireballs and arrows flew directly towards Lin Feng. Kuang Daoi stood at the end and took out a promising strategist. Fatty, move on, get hatred. Lin Feng ordered, and the fat man was pleased. Although his calves were trembling, he still shouted, come on, here is here, hit me. After saying that, he jumped to the side, attracting the skills of 2 remote players. The fireball flew over the butt, making him scream, the trough is so exciting. Lin Feng took advantage of this gap and flashed his body to avoid the first wave of attacks. At the same time, he ordered Xiao He, the shadow suddenly breaks, the wizard in the back row. Xiao He disappeared with a whistle, and the next second it appeared directly behind the wizard. He clawed down and exploded the damage number of -120. The wizard was directly dazzled and his skill was interrupted. What's the thing? The archer beside the wizard was startled and quickly turned around and shot arrows, but Lin Feng had already rushed forward. The novice's blade cooperated with the violent effect of the Wolf King ring, and directly exploded with a single knife. The archer's blood strip dropped most of the time, and he was scared to retreat. This kid is a bit evil, concentrate his firepower to fuck him. Kuangdao saw that the situation was not right, so he finally couldn't sit still. He lifted the sword and rushed over. Every step was shocked from the ground, and his atmosphere was so strong. Lin Feng was not panicked at all, staring at Kuangdao's shoulders. Sure enough, the moment the war knife was lifted, he raised his shoulders slightly, and he stood up to the left, just dodging the knife, and then slashed the Kuangdao's waist with a backhand, causing a -30 damage. Although it was not high, it was enough to attract hatred. A little trick to carve a snail. The mad knife roared and slashed several times. The light of the knife almost covered Lin Feng's 3 meters of area, but Lin Feng relied on precise data calculations to avoid each time, and even took the time to counterattack 1 and 2 swords, and forced the mad knife to the group to revolve. Boss, this kid is so slippery, why can't he hit it? A little brother couldn't help but complain. Before he could finish his words, Xiao He suddenly burst into pieces and directly slapped behind his back. He pawed down, the blood was cleared, and he lay on the ground. Crockett, my orange armor. The little brother was in tears, and the audience in the live broadcast was crazy. The screenshot directly, 666, the data madman's move is simply a teaching book. The crazy knife team is about to be upset, and they are still killed when they fight 5 or 2. The scene turned backwards in an instant, and the little brothers of the crazy sword were solved by Lin Feng and Xiao He one after another. Although Xiao Peng had no fighting power, the task of tying hatred was completed very well. He shouted at me at once, come on, hit me here, what are you afraid of? As a result, he was hit by a fireball, and the blood bar was directly seen, lying on the ground and putting it to death. Brother Feng, I have done everything I can, and I will hand you the rest. Lin Feng rolled his eyes and said unhappily, lying down, don't make trouble. After speaking, he turned his head to the mad sword, with a sneer in his eyes, big boss, you are the only one left, why don't you still recognize it? The crazy sword was so angry that his face was green. He gritted his teeth and said, boy, don't be proud. I still have a big move that is useless. As he said, a red light suddenly burst out from his body, and the system prompted him to show, player's crazy sword touching skill, furious, the attack power is increased by 200%, lasting for 10 seconds. As soon as this skill was released, the players around him took a breath, with a 200% attack power bonus, and a slash of the crazy sword can directly kill Lin Feng in seconds. The live broadcast screen also exploded, it's over, this wave of data madman is really going to be shocked. I can beat level 5 and still be able to fight until now. Is it okay for the magic to operate it? Lin Feng was calm and quickly calculated the violent attack range and continuous time in his brain. He said to Xiao He in a low voice, "Little guy, prepare for the last hit." The shadow burst, and the novice skill will be knocked back. Xiao He growled, and the black light flashed again, teleported directly behind the crazy blade, and slapped his claws, causing the damage of -180. At the same time, the dizziness effect was triggered, and the violent sword of the crazy blade was interrupted. What? The crazy Dao did not expect to be broken. In the moment of being stunned, Lin Feng had already rushed in front of him. The novice blade's 3 consecutive swords, and combined with the violent effect of the Wolf King ring, the damage number jumped out wildly. The crazy Dao's blood strip was directly emptied, and he fell to the ground, falling on the equipment all over the floor. The whole scene was quiet for a few seconds, and then a shocking cry broke out, and the audience shouted, "Yo Chuan! Data Madman Yo Chuan!" The number of people in the live broadcast exceeded 100,000, and the screen was so clear that it was impossible to see clearly. The 5th level is selected as 15th, and the entire team will be killed. Who dares not accept this operation? The crazy sword's face is so big that it is too big, and the top 50 in the rankings were beaten down by a novice, ha ha ha. Lin Feng raised his orange wrist protective from the crazy knife, and the attribute bonus directly allowed him to fight to the next floor. He turned his head and looked at the fat guy lying on the ground, and joked, "Fatty, don't be so tired, get up and give it a lot." Little Fat Horse jumped up and worshipped her face, "Brother Feng, you are so simple that you are not a human being." The help of Quang Dao is probably so angry that he vomits blood. What should I do next? The forum is specified and it will explode again. If you want to blow it up, you're not afraid of anything. Lin Feng patted Xiao He's brain, his eyes swept far away, and suddenly noticed a few strange IDs in the crowd, with bad eyes, which seemed to be impeding him. He felt a little nervous and said, "Fatty, it seems that this scene has not been completed. Some people can't sit still and are ready to continue to find fault." Xiaopang looked at him and found that several high-level players were walking towards this side, with the ID on his head called King of Flames, level 20, and his energy was a little stronger than the mad sword. Little Fat legs were soft, and Lima said in a short voice, "Brother Feng, what are you doing? Another wave of ruthlessness comes. Are we going to beat him?" Lin Feng didn't reply, but the corner of his mouth slightly raised, and a glimmer of light flashed in his eyes. He patted Xiao He and said in a low voice, "Little guy, you're ready. This scene will be the real big shot." Lin Feng stood at the entrance of the most dangerous forbidden copy of the forbidden area in the sky, the Dark Rift Valley, with his ears being shouting, and under his feet there was a deep black crack, and a sense of pressure was filled with the air. This place is a place of death recognized by the entire server. The mechanisms and monsters in the dungeon have changed so hard that even the top-level bosses dare not step on foot easily. But today, there are so many players here, and the number of people in the live broadcast has broken through millions, and the screen is so bright that my eyes are blurred. Digital Man really wants to challenge the Dark Rift this time? This is a level 50 or above ground dungeon. He is only level 30. Can he do it with a pet? A player muttered in a low voice. Can you do it? You can tell if you look at it. He can even lie down with a crazy knife. I can connect to him if I gamble. Another player was excited and had already opened the gamble. Lin Feng ignored the discussion around him, turned his head and looked at the fat guy around him, and joked, "Fatty, why are you shaking like this? Are you scared?" Xiaopang wiped his sweat and said with a hard head, "Brother Feng, it's not my fault. If you fall here, go back to the novice village directly." Besides, the guy from Guangdao was holding a team of people in the depths of the dungeons. He must make trouble. Can we stay here? You have to be on the top even if you can't hold it. Lin Feng grinned and patted Xiao He's brain. "Little guy, today is our last battle to become famous. Give some effort to kill them." Xiao He growled, a black light flashed on his body, and a bloodthirsty cruel look in his eyes. Lin Feng took a deep breath, took Xiaopeng and Xiaohe and stepped directly into the entrance of the Dark Rift Valley. The system prompt sound immediately, warning. Enter the high-risk copy rift, it is recommended to level 50 or above, death penalty, drop 50% of experience value and a random piece of equipment, will it continue? Continue. Lin Feng confirmed without hesitation. The next second, the light around him suddenly darkened, and the road under his feet turned into a narrow stone bridge. There were bottomless and deep penis on both sides, and the monster's growls were everywhere, and the atmosphere was filled with direct atmosphere. Brother Feng, this road is too narrow. What should I do if I make mistakes? The fat little calves were soft and he was careful when he took every step. Don't waste your eyes, look ahead, I won't save you if it falls. Lin Feng complained, and his brain flew up quickly. He had long studied the map of the Dark Rift Valley and the information shared by players. Although this dungeon is difficult to distinguish, all mechanisms and monster refreshes have fixed rules. As long as the time and location are calculated, you can completely avoid fatal risks. After walking for a few steps, a black fog suddenly appeared in front of the stone bridge. The system prompted, warning. Touching detector, shadow trap, the attack of the monsters will not be attacked within 10 seconds. At the same time, the stone bridge began to shake slightly, as if it would collapse at any time. Boke, Brother Feng, run! The little fat shouted in surprise, and rushed forward. As a result, his foot slipped down and almost fell into the deep penis. Run, fart, stand and don't move. Lin Feng grabbed him, staring at the changes in the black fog. According to his calculations, the spreading speed of the black fog is 2 meters per second, and the shaking frequency of the stone bridge is once every 3 seconds. The key point is the time between the black fog and shaking. He quickly said in a low voice, Fatty, listen to my fingers, jump left after 3 seconds, and then push 5 meters forward, don't hesitate. Although Xiaopeng was full of questions, he didn't think much about his trust in Lin Feng, and he did as he did after 3 seconds. Sure enough, as soon as it jumped, a piece of stone bridge collapsed on the right side, and the black fog happened to sweep past the side. The two of them had their hair woundlessly. Nyo Pai. Brother Feng, how do you calculate this accurately? The little fat man was panting and full of worship. Wind, this is the power of data flow. Lin Feng continued to move forward without explaining it much. The next path is to send players directly to the monster pile, including falling rocks falling from the sky, poisonous fogs that suddenly spray, and even invisible transmission spaces. But under Lin Feng's precise calculations, these machines were like children's handles, and they didn't touch a single hair of them. The audience in the live broadcast was stunned and the screen shot up, this operation is simply not a human being. He has figured out the machine in the Dark Rift Valley. The data madman has to kneel down after watching it. Finally, after passing through the last poisonous fog corridor, Lin Feng and Xiaopeng came to the core area of the dungeon, the secret sacrifice. Here is a huge circular platform with burning black flames around it. A familiar figure stood in the center. The ID is the Mad Sword. There are more than a dozen high-level players with full armament behind them. Each level is above level 45, and the installation is dazzling. Yeah, Data Madman, do you really dare to come? I thought you would be circling in the machine. The Mad Knife held the war knife, his lingering mockery, but it's useless if you come. Today, this secret sacrificial sacrifice is your tomb. Lin Feng glanced at the other party's appearance and quickly analyzed it in his heart. Guangdao has become smart this time, the team is well matched, and has a lot of close combat, long journey and help. Their appearance is also tighter than last time, and there is almost no breaking. But he was not panicked at all, and he squinted. Tao Tomb? You said this last time, who is lying on the ground? Why don't we catch another one and the person who has left the game directly, dare you? As soon as this came out, the crazy sword's face was blue and the players around him were also exploded. The live broadcast screen was crazy, both slot, this betting is too ruthless. Exiting the game is like a waste of fun. The data madman is so confident, he's blown up. "Boy, don't be too crazy." Crazy Knife gritted his teeth and was obviously aroused, and said in a hurry, "Brothers, don't say anything, kill him. Whoever takes his head, I will earn 100,000 gold coins." Under the re-emphasis, Lima, a teammate with the crazy sword, had a red eye. More than a dozen people rushed up at the same time. The light of the skill illuminated the entire fort, and the fireballs, arrows, and swords were hitting Lin Feng and Xiaopeng in full swing. The little fat man shook his neck in surprise and shouted, "Brother Feng, what's going on with this wave? I can't hold my blood." "You have to be on the top even if you can't hold it. Listen to me and raise hatred." Lin Feng's temperament was calm, and his brain was moving like a high-speed computer. He quickly glanced at the whole scene, calculated the cold time and attack range of the opponent's skills, and said to Xiao He in a low voice, "Little guy, the shadow bursts, kill him in the back row." Xiao He growled and disappeared. The next second appeared behind the other side's healing player, and a claw went down and directly exposed the -300 damage. When the healing scene was instantly, the resurrection skills were not available. When there was a missing treatment in the team, the mad sword-shaped upright madness was a little bit. Lin Feng seized the opportunity, took Xiaopeng to the side, avoiding the first wave of skill explosions, and then used the novice blade to slash at a close-kill player. In conjunction with the brutal effect of the Wolf King Ring, he forced the damage of -80. Why is this kid so slippery? Concentrate the firepower and don't let him run. The Crazy Knife roared and rushed up. The battle knife carried red light. The skill raging exploded again, and the attack power directly doubled. The sword light almost blocked Lin Feng's retreat. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes, quickly calculated the gap between the coverage of the knife light and the movement of the crazy sword, and shouted in a low voice, "Little fat, roll to the right, don't be stunned." After saying that, he flashed to the left by himself, and just avoided the knife, and then hit back with one knife. Although the damage was not high, he successfully grabbed the hatred. Although Xiaopeng was wiped by the skill and his blood was mostly lost, he still gritted his teeth and heard the pointer, and shouted, "Come on, what are you afraid of when you fight me?" He attracted the firepower of several players from far away, and gave Lin Feng a precious time. A little trick to carve the snail. The Crazy Knife was in a hurry and slashed it down several times, but Lin Feng was able to dodge every time with the precision of milliseconds of movement, and even took the time to counterattack, and forced the Crazy Knife to sweep the group. Xiao He was like a ghost, constantly using shadows to cut into the back row. Several long distances were beaten and complained, and the team collapsed. The audience in the live broadcast was so hot that they watched it, and the screen was filled with crazy, "This move is so simple. You can still hit level 30 and level 45. The pet Xiao He output is higher than that of humans. What kind of magic exists?" The battle went into a white heat, and the teammates of the crazy sword fell one after another, and only him and two of them were left on the field. The Guangdao was sweating heavily and gritted his teeth and said, "Boy, don't be proud, I still have a trump card." As he said, he suddenly took out a black crystal from his backpack, and the system prompted him, "The player's Guangdao uses taboo props, the core of the dark, touching and triggering a temporary buff, and the attack power is increased by 300%, for 30 seconds. As soon as this buff was released, the whole scene was shocked. With a 300% attack power bonus, a slash of the crazy sword can directly kill Lin Feng and Xiaopeng. The little fat man's face turned pale in surprise, and Zuoba said, "Brother Feng, how can he fight this? Our blood strips together will not be enough for him to cut them." Lin Feng was not panicked at all, his brain flew quickly calculated the attack rhythm and buff of the crazy knife, and said to Xiao He in a low voice, "Little guy, you're ready to hit him so hard, forcing him to show his broken spot." After saying that, he shouted, "Fatty, hold on to the last wave of hatred, don't worry." Although Xiaopeng was about to cry, he still rushed forward with his head and shouted, "Come on, chop me." Sure enough, it attracted the attention of the crazy knife. The knife slashed down hard, and the light of the knife directly covered the 3 meters of Xiaopeng's area, and was about to be killed in seconds. Just as the thousand-headed hare was in one hair, Lin Feng's eyes flashed and he shouted in a low voice, "Xiao He, now, finally in an extreme shape." A dazzling black light suddenly burst out from Xiao He's body, and his body doubled in an instant, his hair was rising one after another, and his claws flashed cold light. The system prompt sounds, Divine Pet Xiao He's evolution of the ultimate shape, Dark and Devil Wolf, unlocking skill, a hit in the world, inflicting 500% physical damage to enemies within the range, with an additional 3 seconds of dizziness. What? The crazy Dao did not react yet. Xiao He had already roared and slapped it. His claws slapped hard. A black slam wave exploded in an instant. The crazy Dao and the remaining 2 teammates were directly hit and flew. The damage number jumped out of -800, -750, and -820. The blood strip was instantly cleared. The 3 of them fell to the ground and fell on the floor. The whole scene was quiet for a few seconds, and then a shocking cry broke out, and the audience shouted, "Yo Pai! Data Madman Yo Pai!" The live broadcast collapsed directly, and the number of screens was so many that the server was stuck. Absolutely? This pet is against the sky, who can be hurt 500%? The crazy knife has been shattered, and the face is beaten to the point of being beaten. Lin Feng lifted the orange sword that fell from the crazy sword, and the attribute bonus directly made his fighting force surge again. He turned his head and looked at the fat guy lying on the ground, and joked, "Fatty, don't be so tired, get up and give it a lot." Little Fat Lima jumped up and worshipped her face, "Brother Feng, you and Xiao He's operation are simply not human. The guy with Quang Dao is probably vomiting blood, and even the taboo props were used, they were killed in seconds, ha ha ha. It's so unfavorable. The key is that we have to let the whole server know, who doesn't want to step on us." Lin Feng patted Xiao He's brain, his eyes swept to the center of the sacrificial forum, and suddenly the system prompt sound came up again, "Congratulations to the player for completing the copy of the Dark Rift Valley. Rating, perfect. The bonus is being released." The server announcement, the player's Data Madman killed the Dark Rift Valley for the first time, and won the only named Dark Lord. The total attribute bonus is plus 50%, and it ranked first in the entire server rankings. As soon as this announcement came out, the entire server exploded directly, and the forums and chat channels were instantly flooded. There were countless player discussions. The number 1 Data Madman? Level 30 directly crushed the 50th boss. What kind of magical operation is this? The Lord of the Dark Sword, he exploded when he heard it. Who dares to pick him? Lin Feng looked at the first magazine after his name on the system panel, and his mouth slightly swelled, and a sense of accomplishment arose in his heart. From the broken wooden stick in the novice village to the current full server, he relied on his brain and hard work to kill all the people who looked down on him step by step. This feeling was so good that he felt. "Brother Feng, we are the most powerful person in the server now. What will we do next? What will we do when we go to the main city to help us? When the boss is most powerful?" The fat danced with joy, his eyes almost laughed like a slut. "Help? It's a little interesting." Lin Feng glanced a little and patted Xiaopeng's shoulder, "But it's not just for the sake of being powerful. We have to bring our brothers together and step on every corner of the sky to the foot. Let's go back to the main city, and wish you this great success." Speaking of which, the 2 of them walked out of the Dark Rift with Xiao He. Players along the way kept popping in awe. Some even took the initiative to make the way. The small voice commented, "This is the master of data. Seeing a real person is more shocking than live broadcast. Who dares to provoke him in the future, and they will be looking for death." Back in the capital of heaven, Lin Feng directly launched a full server live broadcast celebration in the main city. Numerous players came to visit, and the scene was as hot as the new year. He stood in the middle of the building, put on the orange sword he had just obtained, and said loudly, "Brothers, today's battle is not my own victory, but the victory of Data Flow. Whoever wants to hang out with me, now we will register, let's dominate the world together." As soon as this happened, the scene was in full swing, and countless players were terrified to apply to join. The team application prompts ding ding and responding non-stop. Xiaopeng stood aside, happy and said, "Brother Feng, we really got this wave. What's the name for helping us? What's the way we call the data dynasty?" "Okay, just call this." Lin Feng laughed and clicked confirmation to establish a helping party. The system prompted the sound immediately, "Congratulations to the player's data madman for establishing a helping party data dynasty. The current number of members, 256, ranking first in the server." Looking at the dense names on the helping interface, Lin Feng was satisfied. He turned to look at Xiao He beside him and said in a low voice, "Little guy, from the novice village to now, we have been following the rules all the way, and finally stood at the top. From now on, there will be a bigger stage waiting for us." Xiao He growled, as if he had understood his words, his eyes full of struggle. Lin Feng raised his head, looked at the dazzling galaxy above the capital of heaven, and sneered at the corner of his mouth, "The world of heaven, the legend belonging to me, has just begun." At this time, the audience in the live broadcast watched this scene and sighed. The story of the data madman is simply a historical story. From the novice village to the first place in the server, this plot is more exciting than the movie. After watching it, I want to play games. After scattering flowers, the master of data, the eternal god. Lin Feng's story is full of sentences, but the saying data madman is forever engraved on every inch of land in the vast land.